You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
I think we'll call this meeting of the Branford Planning and Zoning Commission to order.
Recording in progress.
It is Thursday, April 20th. I have 7:03 p.m. and we'll call the meeting to order and introduce members of the commission and staff. Commission member Joe Chadwick. Joe, are you here?
Joe Chadwick is here and on the air.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Joe Vayuso. Joe, are you here?
Joe Vayuso's here.
Great, thanks. Commission member Massimo Liguri. Massimo, are you here? I see you. Yeah, you're muted, Massimo, but you indicated you're here, so that's great.
Yes, I am.
Great, excellent, thank you. And Sharon, you're here as well?
Sharon Hutner is here.
Okay, I'm Chuck Anders, chair. Our staff this evening is our town planner, Harry Smith, our assistant planner, Evan Brining, and I believe lurking in the background somewhere, maybe our clerk recording secretary, Michelle Martin. I will ask somebody to read our notice of public hearing.
Okay, we have a copy. I can do the honors, I suppose. Legal notice, Town of Branford. The Planning and Zoning Commission of the Town of Branford, Connecticut hereby gives notice of public hearings to be held on Thursday, April 20th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. by remote technology to consider the applications listed below. Information regarding how to participate in the public hearings will be provided on the Commission's meeting agenda that will be posted on the town's website at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. Number 1, application 23-2.4. Zoning map amendment to change 8 North Branfield Road from BL Limited Business to IG-2 Industrial 2. Sophia's Bakery LLC, Kara Costas Sosoulis, applicant. 2, application number 23-3.6. Zoning regulation amendment to add new provisions allowing outdoor dining. Planning and Zoning Commission applicant. Number 3, application 23-3.7. Special exception for an oversized accessory structure located at 40 Pent Road. Edifico LLC, applicant Kevin J. and Robin J. Dextradur, owners. Number 4, application number 23-3.8. Special exception for an accessory apartment located at 40 Pent Road. Edifico LLC, applicant Kevin and Robin J. Dextradur, owners. At said hearings, all persons will have the right to be heard. Copies are on file in the Planning and Zoning Commission's office at the Planning and Zoning Department, 1019 Main Street, Branford, Connecticut 06405. Written communications may be sent to the above address or to planning and zoning at branford-ct.gov.
Chuck Anders here. Thank you, Harry. We'll follow our normal format for public hearing, which is the applicant goes first, makes its presentation, including any consultants, experts. After that, we turn it over to the commission members and staff, typically have a summary of a staff report, and we open it up for questions and comments from commission members. At that point, we'll open it up for public comment and ask that you identify your name for the record. And I'm going to ask Evan in a little bit to review with all of us the process for the public to participate in public hearing. When the public gets done, we allow the applicant to respond to any public comments, and then we may or may not close the public hearing depending on how it goes. So with that, Evan, can you review with us the process for the public to participate and actually applicants to participate when it's their turn?
Sure. Down at the bottom of your screen, There's a green button. Sorry, not green. There's just a regular white button labeled reactions. Once you select that, you can select raise your hand. Please do this if you'd like to participate. You can also type your comment to the chat or let us know in the chat that you'd like to speak. And we ask that everybody states their name before they begin. If you're calling in by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand, and staff will unmute you.
Great. Chuck Anderson, Chair. Thank you, Evan. With that, we'll start with our agenda. We have a couple of items that were continued as public hearings, and it turns out we're going to continue them further. Item number one was the McDonald's Corporation, 424, 436 West Main Street. That's a special exception modification for the drive-through. That's a matter that we had considered. There was getting more information from our own consultant. And I understand that the applicant has requested a further continuation and has given us the appropriate extensions so that it would be continued to our May 4th meeting. Do I have that right, Gary or Evan?
That's correct. We need a little more time to coordinate between the peer review engineers and the traffic engineers for the applicant. So they granted an extension to the May 4th meeting. Okay,
so item number one will be continued to our May 4th meeting. Again, it's also a remote meeting, just like this one at 7 o'clock. Item number two also is being continued. That's a special exception coastal site plan, demolition of an existing home at 1819 Etzel Road. This was a construction of a new home. And I understand that we're expecting, and I don't know if we ever received the comments from the DEP. Is that correct?
We actually did receive comments from DEEP late this afternoon. So I will forward those to the applicant and give not only staff some time to prepare any updates to the staff report based on those comments, but if there has to be any changes to the site plan or the proposal based on those comments as well.
Yes. And I don't know if we need an extension on that one. I assume we've gotten that. Is that correct?
I think 35 days brings us to May 4th exactly.
Okay.
So to be safe, should we grant the extension on that?
Jim? Yeah, it brings us to basically the start of the public hearing at 7 o'clock May 4th. So maybe just to give us an extra 24 hours, that would take care of it. But
Jim Preddy, Criscolo Engineering, extension granted.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you're here for item number two, again, that's 1819 Etzel Road, the special exception coastal site plan, demolition, construction, new home. That matter is also being continued to our meeting on May 4th. Again, also a remote meeting like this one. And so hold your comments and we're understanding we'll get some additional, you'll send the DEP letter to the members as well, I assume staff, so we all have that. So that brings us then to item number three. And this one, I believe we can go forward. This is Sophia's Bakery, LLC, care of Costas Soulasis, massacred that, 8 North Branford Road. It's a zoning map amendment. It changed from BL, limited business, to IG2. And is the applicant ready to proceed with that one?
Yes. Good evening, Jim Preddy, Criscolo Engineering, representing Sophia's Bakery, LLC, and Costas Soulasis. So let's go right to the map. I assume you all can see that. Yep. So this is the property in question that we're looking to change the zone on. The IG2 line goes through here along the edge of this property and across here and then down over. So this whole area here is already IG2. We're looking to extend it into this property. It's currently BL. There was at one time a house on this property, which has been taken down. And the back part of this property is used for overflow parking for the diner. Parthenon Diners in the front. And then there's a gas station on the corner. So obviously we feel that the previous residential use really isn't appropriate here anymore. Mr. Soulasis would like to change this from BL to IG2 just to change some of the uses that are available. He feels that he could put up a small building here for some light manufacturing kind of a thing. And then, also share some of the parking that exists here for the diner. And again, this is the survey. This is the piece in question. The gas station and package store here, and then this is where the diner is. And again, this is this back overflow parking that we will be able to connect to in the back. This is the town sewer pump station with has a sewer easement through it. This property here is, believe it or not, actually farmed right now lately, but it is owned by Connecticut Light and Power Company. There are high transmission lines that go over this property here. So again, they're very limited use there, but it is IG2 zone. So that's the gist of the whole thing. They realize that they will lose certain uses moving from BL to IG2, but the few that they gain, and it's not many, but the few that they gain, they feel is a better fit for what they'd like to do with the property. And here we are.
Chuck Anders, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Pretty. So it sounds
Chuck froze.
is more appropriate.
Sorry, we lost some of that, Chuck. You froze.
Oh, I'm sorry. It sounds like he doesn't have a particular use in mind. Oops, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can now.
Okay. Doesn't have a particular use in mind, but that just the variety of uses would be more appropriate for what they'd like to do with the property.
Correct. Jim Petty again. And honestly, most of the uses in the IG2 zone are special exceptions anyhow, so you would get another shot to look at this. Even if it was only a site plan approval, you'd still get another chance to look at it before you did anything. So this wouldn't be your last view of what's going on here.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Pretty. Harry, did you prepare the staff report on this one?
Harry Smith, Town Planner. Yes, I did. I'm not going to repeat everything Mr. Pretty said. Everything's completely accurate in terms of what's going on the property. Just to give you a little bit of a little more history on the zoning of the property. Back when zoning was created in Branford in the 50s, this was included with the rest of the IG2 properties extending out to Guilford in what was then called the M-2 Highway Manufacturing District. Also, I don't have the entire history of the zoning since that point. I believe things changed in 73, but I'm going to share my screen here and show you a couple of zoning maps that are a little more recent. So hopefully you can see this. This is for another purpose, label something else. The area is not included. I mean, I won't even talk about we had these special development areas, Chuck, I believe you remember those. They are removed from the map. This is from the application when they were removed in 2003. However, the graphic showing all the zones was the backdrop for that. And I'll blow this up a little bit more, but you can see this purple area here is the IG2 zone. This is the North Branford Road under my cursor. This is East Main Street, exit 55. So the diner is just about above my index finger on my cursor here. The property we're talking about is right here in purple, which indicates at that point, 2003, it was zoned IG2. I don't know if it had been zoned BL at 73. I don't know when it flipped IG2, but it had been zoned IG2. In 2004, it was rezoned, which I think is up here, to BL, and I think it's been rezoned or zoned BL since 2004. So in terms of looking at this, two standards or two considerations the commission needs to make. One is you need to at least state in your findings that you've considered the plan of conservation development. The plan of conservation development shows this parcel as being zoned in a similar designation of the other BL properties, but you're not bound to the designation in the plan of conservation development. You are charged, however, with saying whether the application is in conformance with a comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is not the POCD. It is the general plan to control and direct the use and development of property in a municipality, or a large part thereof. And it is consists of the zoning regulations, the zoning map themselves, and the general history of how they developed and the pattern of developed created by them, according to some excerpts from some case law. So I think looking at the history of how this property's been zoned, I think it's would be completely appropriate if the commission so chose to say that the rezoning is in conformance with the comprehensive plan because of the prior history of the zoning designation of the parcel, first as this manufacturing district and later as IG2 itself, which is the zone they're trying to change it to. We did get a response for 2 referrals, one to the DEP. They found the proposal consistent with the Coastal Management Act. We just today received a report from the South Central Connecticut Regional Planning Commission, basically saying they had no comment on the application. So that is pretty much all I have. I do have, if you do choose to deny it, a finding based on inconsistency with POCD is a valid reason for denial. Should you choose to approve it, you should state in your finding or your motion that you've considered the plan of conservation development and that your decision is in accordance with the comprehensive plan, and also an effective date for the zoning map amendment should be established. It's automatically 16 days after the vote, unless you designate a specific day. I would suggest a little bit longer out just to make sure we get the notice in paper and everything done that we need to get done. That's it.
Great. Chuck Anderson. Thank you, Harry. Questions, comments from any commission members before we open up to the public? Hearing none, then let's go ahead and open up to the public. Does any member of the public wish to comment? Evan, we'll hand it over to you.
Just to reiterate, if you'd like to participate, down at the bottom of your screen, there's a reactions button. You can select that and then select raise hand or type into the chat that you'd like to speak. I do not see anyone.
Okay. Appears we have no public comment. Does the applicant's representative have any further comments?
No, I think this is relatively simple, and as Harry educated us on the history here, I think it's a reasonable request. I didn't have, I guess, the same resources Harry had, but it had come up in a couple places being referred to as IG2, and I didn't understand why if it was BL, so that kind of explained why. But no, I think between myself and Harry, I think you guys have all the information you need.
Chuck Anderson, thank you, Mr. Prady. Any further comments from commission members or staff? If not, then we'll close this matter as a public hearing. It's maybe something we can take up in a bit. Thank you, Mr. Prady.
Thank you.
That brings us then to our next item, which is Planning and Zoning Commission. Our commission is the applicant. It's the outdoor dining zoning regulations amendments. And again, I think the applicant is the Planning and Zoning Commission. So we'll turn it over to, I believe, Evan, you've worked on these. So you want to run through those with us?
Yeah, sure. I'll start by just running through my staff report, sort of summarizing the actual amendment, and then I'll throw the amendment on the screen and give a quick rundown of that as well. So this regulation amendment, it includes changes to Section 2 for definition of outdoor dining space. We also have changes to the use tables in Section 4.8E and P, one for food-related uses and one for accessory uses. And then finally, we have the creation of Section 6.16, which is use-specific standards. And we have a few of those in our code already, but those are only applicable to special exception uses. This use is going to be something that does not require a public hearing or approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission, I think in most cases. So it would be something that's approved by staff. Purposes of this amendment were to allow restaurants to obtain permanent approval for existing or proposed outdoor dining space. State of Connecticut Public Act number 22-1 allowed for existing restaurants to utilize outdoor dining space, and it was to be approved sort of through a streamlined approval process as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak. Establishments utilizing this program are allowed to continue until April 30th, 2023. Therefore, we have to get this before you guys at tonight's meeting so that we can set an effective date, hopefully for May 1st, the day after those COVID era approvals expire. The first draft of this amendment was referred to DEEP and SCROG. It was also circulated to staff in different departments from the town of Branford. Planning and zoning staff made some changes to that draft amendment based on comments from the different departments from the town of Branford, as well as DEEP or SCROG. And tonight you guys will have to adopt those changes, which I will go through shortly. The Town of Branford Plan of Conservation and Development recommends that Branford evaluate opportunities to convert strip type development along Route 1 into village-like nodes that help create a sense of space. Staff feels that the addition of outdoor dining space may present opportunities to convert businesses along Route 1 away from that strip type development or strip malls that we commonly see. The POCD also recommends that regulation be reviewed to encourage active street level uses such as restaurants and retail, and discourage passive uses such as offices, real estate offices, etc. in the Branford Town Center District. The Commission is required to find that the proposed amendments to the zoning regulations are consistent with the comprehensive plan. As I mentioned before, these were referred to SCROG. We received a response back from them that they had no additional comments, as well as a response from DEEP that was circulated to the Planning and Zoning Commission members. In consideration for action, the Commission may approve the application as is or approve with modifications. In either case, you must find that it is considered the Plan of Conservation and Development, and that is in accordance with the comprehensive plan. You may also deny this application. And finally, staff recommends approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission sponsored amendment as presented in the revised zoning regulation amendment outdoor dining clean version dated April 20th, 2023 with an effective date of May 1st, 2023. And I did send you guys one more revised version this afternoon after a last minute change. And this recommendation has one finding, that the Commission finds the zoning regulation amendment to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and has considered the Plan of Conservation Development in its decision to approve this amendment with an effective date of May 1st, 2023. So let's bring up the first section I'd like to go through. Actually, I'm going to start with the definition. We are going to define outdoor dining accessory to a restaurant as a designated outdoor space where tables and other seating or a standing area are utilized for outdoor table service or self-service dining that is used in conjunction with and under the same management and exclusive control of an approved restaurant. Next, I'm going to hop over to the use table. Section 4.8E is food and hospitality related uses. We'd like to add a fifth use into this category, outdoor dining accessory to restaurant. And we simply put C section 4.8P, accessory uses. Then I go down to 4.8P. And in all business districts, we are proposing that this is requiring a site plan approval. This would allow planning and zoning or the town planner or his designee to review these applications. Sorry, I'm running through a few different plans here. All right. So finally on to section 6.16. The purpose of this new section is intended to introduce standards for specific uses that do not necessarily require special exception approvals. The first use that we are going to include in there is, of course, outdoor dining as accessory to restaurant uses. All outdoor dining applications may be referred to the building official, fire marshal, East Shore Health District, and town engineer for comment prior to approval. I think this is just going to allow us to make sure that any outdoor space is compliant with the state fire safety code and the building code, as well as be compliant with any standards from the engineering department or the East Shore Health District. We are going to be requiring a site plan incorporating the A2 boundary survey. And I've underlined the last change that we made that I circulated to you this afternoon. So we will be requiring this A2 boundary survey. However, it's been expressed to us by some of the restaurants that we've been speaking with that the A2 survey may be a little too costly for them. So where it is appropriate and where I can confirm that it's still going to be compliant with not only this section, but the rest of the zoning regulations, we propose the A2 survey requirement may be waived by the town planner or his designee after consultation with the chairperson of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Excuse me, Evan.
Sure.
This is Joe Chadwick. I had a handful of editorial comments. Do you want me to hold them till the end, or do you want me to sort of bring them up as we go?
Either way is okay with me.
The language about an A2 boundary survey, that whole sentence, I guess, seems to be borrowed from someplace kind of archaic and is a little redundant. First of all, it's kind of a bother to handle a document with an embossed seal. They don't reproduce well. And with electronic transmission and PDFs and stuff like that, you can get very reliable certifications. An A2 boundary survey by definition has to be produced by a Connecticut licensed land surveyor, so that's sort of a little extra text. So simply a site plan incorporating an A2 boundary survey of the premises or parcel, showing the space to be utilized for outdoor dining would be really all you need to say.
You are correct. That is taken from another section of the code, really just the special exception and zoning permit requirement lists. So I'm not sure how old those are, but you are correct that they were borrowed from somewhere else. Harry or Chuck, do you guys see any problem with that?
Yeah, Harry Smith, town planner. We have had applicants try to submit draft A2 surveys that were not, and I take your point about the sealing. I mean, it could be a stamped with a signature on it as well, just the ink stamp that would show up in a copy, reproduction, or a digital version. So usually we put, when we do a condition or something, we put sealed / stamped and signed by the preparer. Everything else I totally agree with. We can narrow the wording down, but you know, the wording's the wording we'll be using on the places, as archaic as it may be or potentially redundant. We all know what it means, so we've been using it for quite a while, but I take your point.
Greetings, ye to whom these presents are known.
Exactly. It's not quite that bad. Give us a couple of centuries, it'll look that bad.
It's just, I mean, practically speaking, to get an embossed.
No, we don't need an embossed, but we do need something that. Yeah. I mean, we've gotten them, we still get them, but some surveyors still emboss the plans. But I'd rather have it, frankly, sealed with an ink stamp and their number and signed.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That is the criteria for an A2 survey.
But people will give us an A2 survey and it has the indicated on it, even though it says it's not valid unless it is signed, it's embossed, stamped, or signed, which it says it on the statement. The A2 survey statement says that. They will give it to us and insist it's a valid A2 survey. And we tell them, wait a minute, it's not. But the language helps us it backs us up, frankly, because, hey, is
Okay,
this,
I don't want to like beat this. You know,
no, I mean,
got
people
lot of stuff
get
to
a
go.
little odd about requirements for submission applications. Believe me, I don't understand it. It seems worse than it ever was, but so it does help us occasionally to point to the language, say, it needs to be signed and stamped. So
Stamped but not embossed.
definitely the
It's-
embossed is, we can make it a seal / stamp.
Sealed. Yeah.
So you can get the word embossed. It's fine. Yep, that's fine.
Oh, just gonna underline that. So actually the next section is the exact section of the zoning regs that I took that sentence from. And it just really requires that the site plan meet the rest of the requirements for any other planning and zoning commission or any other planning and zoning department survey. We also will be requiring that any fencing, plantings, barricades, busing stations, lighting, heaters, structures, membrane structures, tents, generators, cooking and mechanical equipment, LP storage containers, and signage be included on that plan, along with a separate data chart to include square footage of the existing restaurant, the patron bar area, proposed outdoor dining space, and where applicable, the proposed outdoor dining area and space formerly used as parking. And items from number 3 are all things that we use to calculate either the parking requirements or the standards that if it is served by a septic system, the East Shore Health District will need to know in order to confirm the capacity loads. All outdoor dining spaces are subject to the following criteria. Skipping down to item B, all outdoor dining shall take place entirely on private property, be used in conjunction with and under the same management and exclusive control of an approved restaurant located on the same or contiguous property owned or leased by the applicant. Public property may not be used for outdoor dining facility purposes unless approved by the Board of Selectmen. Public right-of-way, including but not limited to I'm sorry, I lost my place. Public right-of-way, including but not limited to public sidewalks, grass strips, and on-street parking areas within the right-of-way may not be used for outdoor dining unless approved by the town engineer or their designee. Item C essentially prohibits the playing of live music or music over a PA system. Item D requires a 50-foot setback from any residential district. All generators and portable outdoor gas-fired heating or cooking appliances shall be installed in accordance with the requirements of the state code or the state of Connecticut Fire Safety Code and Building Code. This was introduced just because it seemed like a lot of the outdoor dining spaces use those space heaters during some of the colder months. Outdoor dining activities shall be prohibited between the hours of 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. I believe the standard comes right from the state of Connecticut policies for outdoor dining.
I've got a question on that. There's at least one place in town that serves breakfast, and they have outdoor dining, and the 8 a.m. limitation just seems a little, I don't know, not sufficiently inclusive.
Sure.
So if we made it 6 a.m., would that work?
Yeah. I'm sure nobody's. I've never passed by there at 6 in.the morning.
Can't imagine everyone's eating breakfast at 4 or 5:45, but I guess it's possible outdoors. But
Yeah. In the middle of the summer, it's certainly reasonable.
Yeah.
I believe that standard did come from the state. But we can make that amendment, and if we have to change it, we can change it. All right. Jumping down to item I, outdoor dining area.
Could we just stop at G for a second? Can we quantify what very low is for an illumination level? And flashing, blinking lights. What about Christmas lights and holiday lights? Are those denied or obviated because of this?
We just thought that could present a nuisance for any neighboring residential property.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If it's sort of blinking lights like girls and cigarettes and coldest beer in town kind of flashing lights, but does it preclude holiday lights?
I'll be honest, I didn't think of Christmas lights when I was writing the standard, but I suppose
I'm sorry, I read.
You can still have Christmas lights as long as they don't blink.
Exactly, you could still have them.
Okay,
it's hard, it's so hard with regulations. Everything you write something, and there's always going to be some. The other thing about this in general, just since I'm talking, we do have this statutory change looming right in front of us here. So, the things that we can wordsmith make a lot of sense to wordsmith tonight, and maybe there's a few things that we may want to tweak afterwards, which we could definitely do. And we're probably going to want to make some changes based on experience we may have going forward, and we sort of make notes about all that stuff and keep it together. And I'll leave it to you how far you want us to go in wordsmithing things, but we're happy to do as much as we can do. But we want to get something in place.
Okay, I will withhold all of.
No. I don't mean to cut you off at all.
No. Most of my comments are editorial.
Okay.
One minor editorial comment is, for the sake of gender neutralizing the pronouns.
Yeah.
When you're referring to the town planner or a designee rather than his designee.
Okay.
You could do that as a global search, make that replacement, and you don't have to have that idiotic his/her that people tend to put in. Just town planner or a designee of the town planner.
I can make that designee. I don't know.
Yeah.
Joe, you mentioned the very low. Are you okay with leaving it as you're right? That's imprecise, but I don't know.
The thing is, the more imprecise it is, the more trouble you will have enforcing it.
Understood. But
it's a problem I have with specifications. If you say make it nice, there's like how nice.
Yeah. Point taken. It's tricky. Did we sort of borrow that in quotes from another town, Evan? I can't remember where that came from.
We most definitely did. But I think we can move forward with how it is now and maybe work with some of the lighting experts that we pretty routinely talk with. I think one is actually here tonight, Mr. Perry Maresca. So if we need to specifically put a illuminance level in there or something like that, I agree it's going to be pretty hard to enforce something like that. But I'm certainly willing to come up with a specific standard to put in place there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All outdoor dining areas must be accessible to show that a minimum of a 4-foot public walkway will be provided and maintained pursuant to the ADA Act and the CT Building Code as referenced in Public Act 2122-1. Item I, outdoor dining areas shall be required to have a fixed or temporary barrier such as fencing, planters, freestanding walls, or other barrier that shall clearly define their boundaries.
I'm sorry to interject again, but could you please please strike freestanding walls because there's nothing to restrain them if a wind comes by. It's not going to help you, and it doesn't really add anything to the substance of the paragraph.
Sure. I did include it because I believe there are a few places in town that have freestanding walls on the barrier of their outdoor dining spaces, but I can certainly remove it. Any significant alteration from the approved site plan shall require a modification of their approval from the town planner or
A designee.
a designee for section 9.6B. Fire hydrants and fire hose couplings or connections on buildings shall not be obstructed. Underground utility facilities such as cabinets or vaults shall be identified on all plans. An arrangement shall be made to ensure continued access to utility providers for maintenance of any such facilities. If alcoholic beverages are to be served, the enclosure of the outdoor dining area must also meet the requirements of any agency having jurisdiction over the service of such beverages. All temporary structures, tents, or membrane structures shall be installed in accordance with the requirements of the State of Connecticut Fire Safety Code and Building Code. Documentation demonstrating approval from the building official and the fire marshal shall be required prior to the installation or use. Preparation of food is not permitted in the outdoor dining area. Any restaurant served by subsurface sewage disposal system shall get approval from the East Shore Health District to ensure the combined indoor and outdoor seating capacity does not increase the existing or proposed septic system design flow. And then this last standard, originally read as no additional signs may be located within the outdoor dining area unless required by the Connecticut State Building Code. Some staff expressed that this may prohibit menu signs that some restaurants put up outside of their restaurant to give passerbys an opportunity to see what they're offering on their menus. So I altered it to read advertisements, announcements, or signage over 3 square feet shall be prohibited on the fences, planters, freestanding walls, which we can remove from here as well, or barriers of the outdoor dining space unless required by the State of Connecticut Fire Safety Code and Building Code. So I think this would allow those menu signs up to 3 square feet. I stole that 3 square foot standard from the sign section, which allows identification signs for a business to not be required to have any permits if they're under 3 square feet in height or in square footage. I think that is about it.
Thank you, Evan. Great. I think, so the change about the seal, I think if you pull that up again, do we need a before the seal? Did we leave the word seal in there or what? Just on a technical.
We removed the embossed part.
Okay.
So stamped with seal and signed by a Connecticut licensed land surveyor.
Okay. We don't need an article with a seal. You think just with seal is good enough?
I think you're right.
Okay. Okay. My general understanding is that during COVID, there was, as a result of COVID, and it was killing restaurants, the state sort of mandated outdoor dining, and that you allow it without any, zoning approval, basically a staff approval. And that was sort of carried on. And then and it turned out to be fairly successful. And this public act that all the COVID rules have gone by, they basically extended them for 1 year, and now they mandated this that we allow it as well. And some of where this comes from is it mandates certain things, leaves some gaps, and so what we're trying to do is fill the gaps because otherwise it's going into effect. So things like noise levels and hours and other things you've done the consultation with internal staff, and this is what we've come up with. One thing I went and looked at the public act again. This contemplates an administrative approval. In other words, it doesn't have to come to the commission. It just comes to staff, and the staff approves that. When I read the statute, I thought, and that's the way it's been done in COVID, but I didn't see that as a requirement. It said administrative site plan approval. And I could see you saying, well, administrative means by the staff, not the commission. But I interpret the word administrative site plan approval to mean just a site plan approval, which is an administrative act. So I think it could be required to be reviewed by the commission. That said, I don't want it to be reviewed by the commission. And I'm happy to have you do it. I think it's quicker, and it worked through COVID, and we have enough stuff on our plate without doing that. I just wanted to throw that in. I don't know if others have any opinion, and there's some ambiguity in the language, but that's why we inserted the language that the A2 survey requirement may be waived by the town planner, because we can waive stuff, a commission can, but administrative staff approval, they can't. So we had to put something in to allow that. And then they said, well, check with the commission, with the chair. That's just sort of a check. So, it's so in the event that Harry just goes crazy, then you've got someone checking them. So those are essentially my comments. Otherwise, I'm generally fine with it. Other comments? Yes, Sharon.
Yes, I see a contradiction. E says all generators and portable outdoor gas-fired heating or cooking appliances shall be installed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then M says preparation of food or beverages are not permitted in the outdoor dining area. So why would you have a portable outdoor gas-fired heating or cooking appliance installed if you're not allowed to use it?
So I took that language from the state building code. And you're right, it is a little contradictory, but I just felt that we'd be throwing as much under that umbrella as we could by using that language. And it would also maybe make things a little easier for the review process when we say, okay, this language is directly applicable to this language in the state building code.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And then,
Okay.
The preparation of food prohibition in the outdoor dining area came from the health department standards. That's, I believe, preparation of food in the table service dining area is prohibited per their standards, whereas the standard for or the language from the section E really was focused on those outdoor space heaters.
Oh, the space heaters. Okay.
But I just took that language from the building code so that we can have a direct correlation to that state building code. Sorry, I should have explained that second part first.
The only thing that I can think of is that people may challenge you, about wanting to put in an outdoor gas-fired heating cooking appliance if it's specified how to do it in these regulations. So I just would like to make your life a little bit easier.
Sure. I think they'd have to also challenge the building inspector as well, if that were the case.
Okay.
But what happens?
Go ahead, Joe.
What happens if somebody wants to have, an outdoor grill? That's, somebody brings up one of these smoking trailers or a big green truck, and you're cooking outside.
Then they'd have to coordinate with the health department to get proper approvals for something like that. And I'd certainly be willing to permit that activity if it was in accordance with the health department standards for like a special event or like an outdoor barbecue, something like that.
If we're just repeating the health department standard, is that, so you're looking at M, right? Preparation.
Well, yeah, the cooking could be separate. I mean, you're talking about something being prepared in the outdoor dining area versus maybe a smoker outside of the little, enclosed area where people are eating. I mean, it could still be done, I think, outside of that area where people are eating.
And guys, I just want to point out that there was a repeat in the M. There was 2 M standards, so I just changed
And
this one too.
Okay, so now that's okay. And then
Sorry about that. You know what? If it's going to create contradiction with another department standards, I have absolutely no problem removing it from ours.
Yeah, the main reason
standard that
right.
has to be regulated by a different department, then I'd rather not get involved whatsoever.
Then let's delete it then, right?
Sure.
So taking the new N out. So you're talking about? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So everything at that.
Are you eliminating E or are you eliminating N?
N.
We're eliminating the second M, and everything can stay the same after that, right?
Right. In other words, the preparation of food and beverages outdoors will be regulated by the health department.
Yeah, or whoever, right?
Okay.
So N, as shown on the draft, would stay the same, and would read MN without the preparation of food and beverages prohibition, and then O is the last one.
So then I'm going to change O to N.
Well, you've already got, isn't any restaurant served by subsurface disposal? Isn't that still going to be N?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. I think N and O can just stay the way they are because you've gotten rid of the second M.
Right.
Hi guys, it's Massimo. Can I?
Yeah, Massimo, you got any comments?
I do. I think I think doing this for restaurants is a great advantage for the restaurants that are able to do this. And slight concern, I realize how important it is for these restaurants, for the center of town and Branford, for the other businesses around them. During COVID, I realized how important the restaurants, how important they are to generate business for all the other businesses that are around. It is extremely important. When they were closed, and the other businesses opened up, there wasn't much revenue going on. There weren't many people walking around or anything like that when the restaurants were closed. As they were able to open 30%, 50%, 100%, I realized as a business owner down in the center of Branford, where the green is over there, it just made a huge difference on the amount of traffic and how it catered to the other businesses around. So with the open space for the restaurants, my concern is the restaurants that are in the center of town. Some of the restaurants don't have any outside space and are not able to compete with other surrounding restaurants because they don't have enough room, of course, to put any outside dining. Unless, of course, and my concern is will they move out to a different area and leave the downtown area because of that reason? Because the increase on outside dining is a lot. There's a ton of success when you're able to do outside dining. So my thing is if there is property that can be leased, neighbor property or adjacent to the restaurant and still able to abide by the codes and the laws that we have in our town, would the restaurant be able to lease a neighbor's property if it doesn't affect any parking and it gives them the same opportunity as the other restaurants and keeps them in town?
I think the answer is yes, right? Did you want to cover that? Okay.
Yeah,
I think is an accessory
Did I make my point clear enough?
Yes.
Yeah. I think this has been segregated out by the language everyone's sort of highlighting there from the typical prohibition on accessory uses, which are required to be on the same lot or property as the principal use. So I think this language is a little bit different. You can have something located on a contiguous property that's leased by the restaurant, which means, right next door to it. So it can be done under the language Evan's highlighted. It's the way I read it. I don't know. That's the way you wrote it, Evan, and proposed as far as I understand, right?
Yeah. And there might be requirements for, changes to be made or legal agreements. That's probably outside the scope of the Planning and Zoning Commission, but.
Yeah, I mean, it may be probably a condition on the approval that, the approval might lapse when the lease lapses or something like that. So, it would not, if another restaurant moved in, properties changed hands, you have another chance at looking at the lease and making sure, it works for the use. But that's not clearly spelled out here either. But, I think
it is in the statute, though. I mean, the statute says that you're allowed to do it on any lot, yard, court, or open space abutting the area permitted for the principal use, provided, and there's some provisos.
Okay.
But this was written with the statute.
So that's derived from the statute. Okay, I forgot about that language. Yeah. Evan's the expert on this, not I. You. So it sounds like that works.
Yeah. So Massimo, I think the answer is that you make a deal with your neighbor. You would be allowed to do that. And there is some stuff going on the sidewalk now. I mean, you see it on Pasta Cozy is the main one, I think.
Yeah, G Cafe. There's a couple of them, and the coffee shop down towards down the hill.
Yeah.
That's all subject to approval, of course, of the town as it's spelled out.
Right.
All right, excellent. Thank you, guys.
Any other comments from anyone before we open up to the public? Then let's go ahead and open up for public comment. Does any member of the public wish to comment? Evan, see anyone?
I do not see anyone. And just to reiterate, if you'd like to participate, there's a reactions button down at the bottom of your screen. You can raise your hand or type into the chat that you'd like to participate. I do not see anyone.
Okay, so does anyone have any further comments before we close the public hearing? If not, then we'll close this matter as a public hearing, and then we could bring it up later, see what we want to do. So that brings us into items number 5 and 6. We'll consider both those. Those are two applications for the same site. That is Edificio LLC applicant, Kevin and Robin Dextrator owners at 40 Pent Road, both at a special exception for an oversized accessory structure and a special exception for accessory and apartment. Is the applicant ready to proceed?
Harry, could you make Kevin Dextrator and Paul Fioretti co-hosts, please?
Yeah, in process.
Thank you.
Okay, should mute as you wish. Unmute.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. My name's Paul Fioretti, and I am representing Kevin and Robin Dextrator for 40 Pent Road. And are we going to be combining the two, first for the accessory apartment and then for the oversized structure? Probably be the best way to do it.
I would suggest that we'll just have the same proceeding apply to both. So, okay. We'll present it the way you think makes most sense.
Okay. So we are looking to add a 3-car, a 3-bay, 2-car garage to the existing property at 40 Pent Road. We're an existing cape of just under 1,400 square feet sits now. This would be a a garage structure, which we have been approved from the ZBA on several variances for it. It is basically a one-story structure with the gable and a dormer off the back of the upper floor would be an accessory apartment. The structure itself, let me share my screen. Okay, so if you don't mind the colors on here. So the structure itself, I don't know if everyone could see this, move it over a little, is 38 by 26 on the bottom floor, which is down here. There would be a stair going up. You'd have the two bays with some storage area. The apartment above would be where he plans to have his mother-in-law reside, so they could care for her. There is a dormer in the back, doghouse dormers in the front, so it conforms with the character of the neighborhood. The house, as I mentioned, is a cape itself. We have the two garage doors, and we have parking in the front for 3 cars, and there is the turnaround. We are also providing, if I may share this screen again. Let's say, this is the Pent Road, where it is tangible to Apple Tree Lane. The existing dwelling faces Pent Road. The proposed garage would be facing the Apple Tree Lane, where that's where the access would be coming from Apple Tree Lane. As I pointed out, the character is very familiar with what is in the neighborhood. It does not exceed the coverage allowed in that area. No, neither for the impervious surfaces, because there used to be a barn-like structure that this was part of at one time, and the majority of that structure and the impervious surfaces are on that lot. So we would be adding, get this calculations here. Where I put that? Excuse me 1 minute. Oh, there we go. All right. And I'll share my screen again. Well, before I talk about the what we'll be adding as far as pavement, there is an existing patio over here, and there's a little bit of asphalt down at the southern end of the property. They have chosen, because there seems to be some water issues, that, when there is some rain, he's putting in a dry well right here just to keep the lawn from getting saturated. So he's put in an overflow retention area in that area of the property. If I could go to sharing the screen one more time. So let's see where that would be. So I'll go back to this. And we have back to the structure. So The size of the second floor is just a one-bedroom apartment with a kitchenette and a bathroom, and the stairs that come up to the second floor from the lower area. The height of the structure to the peak is 20 feet. To the medium of the dormer in the back is 18, which is about 17 feet to the doghouse dormers. The peaks in the front of the structure. Again, not exceeding that of what the original house is. Let's see if I could open this. Share the screen again. I can't seem to get the PDFs to share. How would I do that?
Paul, I have the elevations ready if you want me to throw them up.
Sure. That would be great. Thank you, Evan. I was looking for oh, can you see that?
No.
No. Let's see. Oh, I could do that. I'm trying to share the PDFs that are open on my screen, but I can't seem to get to those. Unless maybe I could get, oh, maybe this is it down here. Here it is. Okay. So, okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is an overlay of the assessor's map on Google Earth, which shows the existing structure with the cape with the two doghouse dormers in the front. You could see that there's some patio in the back, and this is that area of paved area in the back that is now part of the adjacent lot, which is just comes over the existing parcel line right now. The structure we'd be putting in would be over here, and looking at the impervious surfaces, for total, we have about existing right now is, let's see, 1,075 square feet. That includes that little swatch of asphalt, the sidewalk, the patio, and the front walks all over here. And the new driveway is about just under 1,000 square feet, 992, which gives us just over 2,000 square feet, which brings us to not even 10% of the lot area of 21,000 plus square feet for that. Stop the share. Okay, so Evan, you were gonna bring up some elevations. Thank you. All right. So yeah, that's a little easier to read in the black and white. I apologize for the colored screen. So we know that with the existing 30% ratio of the existing, it would have been about 420 square feet of living area allowed, where we're asking, over 600, and the footprint would be about 988 square feet, where I think allowed is 900 for that on the overside of the structure. So we hope that the commission views this application favorably and sees that it does conform with the character and other examples of homes with accessory structures in the neighborhood. We don't see that it's out of character. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, and just share. Thank you, Mr. Fiore. We'll ask Evan to review the staff report, and if we have some follow-up questions, we will hit you with them. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin, you want to review it with us?
Yeah, sure. So as Mr. Fioretti went over for us, they are proposing an accessory apartment to be built over a proposed detached garage. They do not meet the bulk requirements of the R4 district, but they've received variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals for every one of those standards that they did not meet. These include front and rear yard setbacks, accessory structure closer to the street line than the principal structure, accessory apartment over 30% of the principal dwelling, and accessory structure larger than the principal dwelling. They are also submitting for a special exception for an accessory structure over 750 square feet and 15 feet in height. They meet the parking requirements. No lighting information has been required, but I've added a condition to this approval that would require any proposed lighting to be compliant with section 6.7. Based on the application materials, it appears that the special exception criteria are generally satisfied. Staff recommends one condition for the accessory apartment, or one finding for the accessory apartment. Subject to compliance with the conditions listed below, the commission finds that the proposed use of the property is consistent with the special exception criteria. We also have three conditions. Number one is that any lighting be consistent or compliant with the standards of section 6.7, our lighting section. I had added this standard that prior to the start of construction, erosion control measures shall be added to the site plan, installed and maintained throughout construction. However, I did amend it this afternoon to just add that if that is determined to be necessary by the zoning enforcement officer, just because the land is very flat, so I wasn't even sure if erosion control measures were required. However, I could share my screen very briefly. Here in yellow is just that language I added on to the requirement for erosion control measures. And if we take a look at the site plan, there is a little bit of a inland wetland right down the street here with a drainage that I'm not sure if it leads to it or not. But, you know, I guess I wanted to leave it up to the zoning enforcement officer and allow us to coordinate with the inland wetlands department to determine if the erosion control measures are even required. So over the next few days, I'll confirm that for Paul and for Kevin to even see if that's a necessary requirement. But I just didn't see any silt fencing or tracking pad on the site plan. So I added that in if it is necessary. So I'll reach out to the inland wetland department to confirm that with the zoning enforcement officer. Going back to the staff report. Sorry, wrong one. That is also the wrong one. I'm sorry. The final condition is that the owner of the accessory apartment must file a deed restriction on the land records requiring that unit, if it is to be rented, be at or below prices that would qualify the apartment as affordable housing. And then for the oversized accessory structure, staff doesn't recommend any conditions, and just a finding that says that the commission finds, based on the testimony, that the application materials presented are consistent with the special exception criteria. And that is it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from anyone on the commission for Evan or for the applicant before we open up to the public? Yes, Sharon.
Sharon Hutner here. I think it's really commendable that this family wants to do something for their relative. But I would just make one comment. I see that you're taking away some trees in order to build this structure, and you're adding impervious surfaces as well. So I would just encourage you to plant something else on the rest of the property, either a rain garden or something that would help with the runoff of the water. And the tree commission in town would be more than happy to help you decide what would be best for that piece of property.
Okay, we will note that, and Mr. Dextrator would be able to work with that commission to pick out some, nice. I mean, I know that area was a apple farm or something like that years ago, so that would be probably in keeping with the neighborhood, which would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have to be significant trees. It could just be shrubs or a perennial garden or something that's easily done.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sharon. Any other questions or comments from commission members before we open up to the public? Does any member of the public wish to comment? Evan, you see anybody?
I do not see anyone.
Okay, looks like there's no public comment on this. Are there any further comment?
Nope.
Okay. And any comments from commission members or staff? Oops, can you hear me?
No, we hear you. No comments from staff.
Okay, great. Then we'll close these two matters as a public hearing. And again, this is something we may be able to take up in a little bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so that then brings us to our minutes from our March 30th meeting, which were sent around in our packet. And I don't know if you've had a chance to review those, but if someone would like to make an appropriate motion regarding the Thursday, March 30th, 2023 minutes that were sent around.
Joe Vayuso moves to approve.
Motion made to approve by Joe Vayuso. Is there a second?
Sharon Hutner will second.
Sharon seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Joe Chadwick?
Joe Chadwick was not at that meeting, so I will be abstaining on this vote.
Okay, Joe abstains. Joe Vayuso?
Joe Vayuso approves.
Massimo?
Massimo approves.
Sharon?
Sharon votes yes.
And Chair also votes yes. So those minutes are approved. Is there any correspondence, Harry? Harry, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the button. Thank you.
Okay.
Harry Smith, Town Planner. We did receive a notice from the town of Guilford that they're having a public hearing on a comprehensive rewrite of their zoning regulations. And that public hearing is scheduled for May 17th at 7:30 p.m. I can send this notice around. I think I might have included it in the packet. I don't know if I got it in there or not, to tell you the truth. If anybody's interested, I think it's a fairly significant rewrite from what I understand in terms of content, as well as possibly some formatting changes and so forth. So that is it.
Great. Thank you, Chuck Insha. Thank you, Harry. So then let's go back and see if we can act on some of the public hearing items that we've heard this evening. Go back to, I think, number 3 was Sophia's Bakery. That's 8 North Branford Road. That was the zoning map amendment that changed from BL to IG2 for the 8 North Branford Road site. And I think, Harry, you did the staff report on that one. If you want to pull that up. Well, while Harry's doing that, we should just go around. What do people think? Is this okay? This is it's zone BL now. It used to be zone IG2, and the request is that it be rezoned back to IG2 for the property behind the diner. Joe Chadwick, thoughts?
I don't see a big issue with it. I'm just curious why it's necessary. It was never completely explained, but I will take it on faith that it's a logical change.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Joe Ayuso?
Yeah, Joe Vayuso concurs with Joe. I don't see the big problem. Two zones are very similar in what's going on over there.
Great.
I'm good with it.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Massimo?
Yeah, I'm really good with it. I think that it gives an opportunity for something to be built there, and maybe some employment for some people that live next to that area, and I'd like to see something being done with that.
Great. Thanks, Massimo. Sharon?
It looks like a logical change to me.
Great. And Chair, I'm also in favor. I defer. I think as a number of people have said, there's a lot of similar uses. I mean, you can do less retail, but you can do more office industrial. And if that's what they like to do, they own the properties. And it used to be IG in the past, so I don't have a problem with it. So Harry, do you have a resolution that you could pull up for us?
I do not. I don't really think it's necessary, Harry Smith, Town Planner. I think, it's motion just saying that you've considered the plan of conservation development and you find the change find wording here, in accordance, I think, with the comprehensive plan and set an effective date. I would suggest to give us plenty of time. Let's say May 12th.
Okay. Does someone make a motion to approve this zoning map amendment from BL to IG2 for this property at 8 North Branford Road, with the finding that the change is in accordance with the comprehensive plan of development and is also consistent with our most recent plan of conservation and development, with setting an effective date of this zoning map amendment to be May 12th, 2023. Someone want to make that motion?
Massimo.
I heard Massimo first. Massimo, who got the second?
It was Joe Vayuso.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll give Massimo the motion and Joe the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Joe Chadwick.
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso.
Joe Vayuso in favor.
Massimo.
Massimo's in favor.
Sharon.
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
And Chair is also in favor. So that zoning map amendment is approved. That brings us to item number 4, which is our zoning regulation text amendment for outdoor dining. And Evan, do you want to maybe pull that one up?
Sure. 1 second. Sorry, everybody. All right. So here is the staff recommendation and the finding. Would you like me to pull up the actual amendment again?
Yeah, let's go through any changes that we made and make sure we're good. I know that we had some renumbering. We deleted one. We added we changed it from his appoint designee to and made a few things like that. Okay. So
so starting off with the definition, I don't think there was any discussion about that. I tried to catch any mention of the town planner or his designee and alter that to a designee. The other changes that we made were this change from 8 a.m. to 6 a.m. For the prohibited hours of operation for the outdoor dining spaces. We eliminated the freestanding wall mention of fixed barriers or boundaries marking the outdoor dining space. We eliminated the preparation of food standard in the outdoor dining space, as that's to be regulated by the health department. And I think that is it. I think there's one more town planner or his designate right here. And then one more freestanding wall mention as well. I think that's it.
Okay. Then, okay, any questions or comments from anyone about this?
I hate to keep poking at this, but the sign limitation at 3 square feet, if you think of a sandwich board or a menu board, something that's 2 feet by 3 feet or 2 feet by 4 feet is a little more legible than a 3 square foot sign. A 3 square foot sign is like, 18 inches by maybe 20 inches for a menu board. Do we want to give them a little bit more square footage?
Sure. How about 5?
I'll take it.
2 foot by 3 foot, or
2 foot by 6 feet. 2 by 3 is 6.
Yes,
so that would be a.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm just trying to come up with like a visualizable size, so that it has some context and usefulness.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so we'll change that to 6, right?
Yep.
To 6 square feet.
Sure.
Okay. And okay, anything else? Anyone else have anything? Then does someone want to make a motion to approve this amendment as amended? With the finding that we find the amendment to be consistent with the most recent plan of conservation and development, and also in accordance with the comprehensive plan of development, and with an effective date of May 1st, 2023.
Joe Chadwick will make that motion.
Motion made by Joe. Is there a second?
Sharon Hutner will second it.
Second by Sharon. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Joe Chadwick.
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuzo.
Vayuzo in favor.
Massimo.
Massimo's in favor.
Sharon.
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
And the chair is also in favor. So that zoning amendment is approved. Next, we'll take up the 40 Pent Road, the Dextrator special exception for accessory apartment and oversized accessory structure. And I guess, which one do we take first, Evan? Does it?
I have the accessory apartment one up, so why don't we do that one first?
Okay. I just don't know if it makes a difference. If one is conditioned on the other or something. Okay. Let's, it doesn't really matter since, let's go through this. I think, does anyone have any comments? I guess let's just kind of make a rounds. Are we good with this, folks? Joe Chadwick?
I have not an objection in the world on it.
Okay. Joe Vayuzo?
Vayuzo. Yeah, no objections.
Yep. Massimo?
I have no objections also.
Right. Sharon?
None, just the recommendation that the plantings be done so that because the impervious surfaces are going to be increased and with water runoff.
Great, thanks. And I'm also good with this. So, okay, so it looks like we're good with the staff recommendations. I think, Evan, you did review them with us as part of the public hearing. And again, they're the standard findings of, that it complies with special permit criteria. And then the conditions that you added, the lighting condition, number 1. Number 2 is soil erosion control measures, if determined to be necessary by the zoning enforcement officer. You added that. And then 3 is the standard affordable housing condition. So is someone want to make a motion to approve this accessory apartment application by adopting the findings and conditions in the staff recommendation, as recommended in the staff recommendation, is amended, and that's presently right in front of us.
Chadwick will make that motion.
Motion made by Joe Chadwick. Is there a second?
Joe Vayuso seconds.
Second by Joe. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Joe Chadwick?
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso?
Vayuso in favor.
Massimo?
Massimo's in favor.
Sharon?
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
And Chair is also in favor. Okay, let's do the oversize. You got the staff resolution for that one, Evan?
I do. Staff didn't have any conditions related to the oversized accessory structure, so I just had the one finding that it's consistent with the special exception criteria.
Okay. So someone want to make a motion to approve this application with the finding that it's consistent with the special exception criteria as set forth in the staff recommendation.
Joe Vayuso, so moved to approve.
Motion made by Joe. Is there a second?
Massimo Ligori seconds.
Massimo seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Joe Chadwick.
Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso.
Vayuso in favor.
Massimo Ligori.
Massimo's in favor.
Sharon Hutner.
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
And Chair is also in favor. So those applications are approved. So that brings us then to the rest of our agenda under new business.
Thank you,
You're welcome. Good luck. Okay, so turning then to our new business. We've got no old business. That's good. In new business, we get a bunch of new things in. Looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll need to schedule public hearings for looks like all of them. Or any comment, staff, Harry or Evan, anything you want to call our attention to, or just
Harry Smith, Town Planner. I think in terms of setting the dates, if the commission wants 3 lines of the standing motion, that staff in conjunction with the chair would set the date for the public hearing. That probably would work out well for us and the applicants, hopefully. I really don't want to get too far into some of them that are going to be public hearings. So there's a special exception modification, 245 East Main Street. That's that arguably 3 or 4 story building right next to the Branford River as it goes underneath East Main Street, which is under construction now. They want to modify the front area and possibly do a couple other modifications. The front area, as approved, had a sort of retaining wall. It was a change in grade. You need to bring the fill up to a certain point on the structure to comply, I believe, with the FEMA regulations. They want to modify that to a slope. And I haven't gone through the whole thing, but I think there were some plantings on the original approval, and I don't know if they've been retained or not, but that could be public hearing or not. So you could give us some guidance on whether you want a public hearing. There's not a lot of neighbors, but there are a couple, mostly businesses there. So it'd be a fairly significant change in the potential appearance of the front. So,
do we want to weigh in on that? It's a fairly visible site. It's as you go by the river, and it's I've got something. So I don't know.
Well, anything to improve the front of it, because right now it doesn't look that good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure the proposed change would, I'm not sure whether it constitutes improvement or not. I mean, they certainly need to do something compared to what they've got now, which is just a pile of dirt. We'll just go over that at the hearing or not. So I guess the question is, do you guys want a hearing just so the neighbors get notified directly and there's an advertisement in the paper and people know about it?
When eliminating a wall and adding a slope? Is that what
yeah, they're basically taking, it was like a decorative block retaining wall with some plantings on the top and I believe a walkway or staircase incorporated in it. And I think their proposal is to eliminate the wall and regrade it so that they would have to at least need a 1-on-3 slope. So I don't know if it requires more fill or not. I haven't gotten into the application, just kind of came in the last couple of days. But the default is a public hearing. They have not requested a waiver, so we can just let the default process go.
Let's do it. If they want to request a waiver, they can request it, but
okay.
We'll just
and wouldn't it also then require a landscaping plan, right?
Yeah, I've got to go into it and look at it. So they may be requesting some change to the required landscaping based on what's in the plan. So,
right. At some point, people come in with a plan, and then halfway through construction, how can we make this cheaper? And then, we need to get this reapproved. And unless it improves the site, we really need to look at it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Everything else, is process spelled out, and we'll get the public hearings together. And one of the subdivision actually is in Pine Orchard, but just to remind the commission, your authority under the subdivision regulations extends to the entire town, including Pine Orchard and Short Beach. Even though they have their own zoning authorities, they don't have any authority to enforce, or they don't have separate subdivision regulations. So we'll have to look at their zoning requirements in evaluating that subdivision in Pine Orchard, because that would be the standards that would apply to the lot size and so forth. So I can move on to the bond release. You want to go take that next?
Yeah, if we're done with new business, let's go on to other business. The bond release, 471 East Main Street. What do you got for that?
I have a memorandum from Jane Ellis, the zoning enforcement officer, saying she has inspected the property of 471 East Main Street. This is in response to request for return of the bond as part of the planning and zoning special exception application approval 22-4.5 was granted with conditions. They recommend return of the bond in the amount of $22,000. This was for, I believe it's the change of Blue Point, which I now think it's called Rise, the marijuana dispenser, which is now the retail marijuana or cannabis retailer. And they had outstanding, they had not done their landscaping, they had not done their light swap outs before they wanted to open up. So the bond covered that. They've done both things now. So it's all set to go.
Great. Okay, someone want to make a motion to release the bond for 471 East Main Street as recommended by the zoning enforcement officer.
So move. Joe Vayuso.
Motion made by Joe Vayuso. Is there a second?
Chadwick seconds.
Second by Joe Chadwick. Any further discussion? All in favor? Joe Chadwick.
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso.
Vayuso in favor.
Massimo.
Massimo's in favor.
Sharon?
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
And Chair is also in favor.
Thank you.
31 Cedar Lane. What's that one about?
This is establishing a bond for outstanding landscaping and site work. This is recommended for a bond in the amount of $54,000. This will cover topsoil, sod, landscaping, mulch, stone, and concrete pavement. It's at 31 Ferry Lane.
Okay.
It's just in there.
Someone make a motion to establish a bond of $54,000 for the 31 Ferry Lane as recommended by the zoning enforcement officer.
Sharon Hutner will so move.
Motion made by Sharon. Is there a second?
Chadwick seconds.
Second by Joe Chadwick. Further discussion. All in favor? Joe Chadwick.
Joe Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuso.
Vayuso in favor.
Massimo.
Massimo's in favor.
Sharon.
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
And Chair is also in favor. Planners report.
Planners report. Harry Smith, Town Planner. I did send around an email, and I hope it got to everyone intact, about an upcoming training program. As you may recall, each commission member needs to complete 4 hours of training by the end of this calendar year. One of those hours is mandated to be affordable housing training. This program on affordable housing would cover that required 1 hour training. It's free. It's at 4 to 5 p.m. on April 26th. And our very own chair, Chuck Andrus, will be speaking with a couple other people. I understand. So I recommend that everyone try to get to that, because that would knock that one right out and you get the training done, and the benefit of learning from some people who know what they're talking about with affordable housing. Yes.
I'm not
I
the
have a
main speaker.
question. If I attended the March all day program.
If they had an hour on affordable housing, you'd probably be covered.
Okay, I don't remember.
I don't know whether they did or not. I have to look at the
I mean,
book
they
to see.
did talk about affordable housing. I don't remember. If it was
Right,
an
it wasn't
hour.
a full hour.
It was Ira Bloom
Ira
did
Bloom?
the big presentation, and then the next guy, Joe Klein, did some where he, in his sort
So,
of catch-all
Do
category.
you think I'm good to go?
Yeah, and this is self-reported, so there's
Okay.
nobody really. We're just doing it to make sure we comply, and we'll document. We'll survey everyone on record of the minutes or something at some point near the end of the year, and we'll just check in, around October, November, just to for everyone another chance. But it sounds like you're covered. So
Okay, great.
So there's that. If anyone did not get the email, you can't have trouble registering, let me know, and I'll send it out again. You may or may not also be aware there was a press release that's been popping up now on, I think, Zippo 6, and it's in Patch, and I believe in the Branford 7, about a project that is being proposed for what it's called the Bittersweet Farm. It's 2 large properties, 200 acres in total, bordering the Guilford line. Access, the front's on East Main Street, and there's some access through an existing cul-de-sac that also serves the Army Reserve Training Facility. And there was also potential access off of Sycamore Way and East Industrial. So they're proposing, I believe it's 5 pad sites, biomedical healthcare. Basically, kind of a corporate park is the concept. So we have, of course, no detailed plans at all. They've just sort of announced that they're moving forward with seeking tenants for these spaces, will coming in to seek approval to develop the facilities, which probably would not occur for quite a while. There's a lot of wetlands in the property. That would probably be the first stop in the approval process. They did mention that they would be interested in coming to the commission just to introduce the development on a conceptual basis, if you're willing to entertain that presentation. So there'll probably be a lot of discussion around town. I would kind of caution members to not submit letters to different publications in the media stating your opinion, because you may predetermine yourself, and when the application review comes in, you may be determined to be biased. So that kind of thing is, it'd be best refraining from that. I don't know if you have any comments, Chuck, about that too, but.
No, I mean, that's absolutely right. You can always use the excuse, hey, I'm on those. I don't know. I don't know if it would be that much comment on it, but
right.
You just say, hey, they'll yell at me, they'll try to disqualify me or whatever if I say, so I can't say anything about it. So, just be smart. No.
100 acres in Branford, or is it border into Guilford?
Those properties are all in Branford, as far as I understand. It's different than the Sullivan Farm, which straddles the line. It's all in Branford. It goes almost right down to I-95.
Okay.
So you see the picture that you may see out in the different media stories on it. That is an artist rendering of what it might look like from I-95 looking north. There would be potentially 2 pad sites, one to the east and one to the west side of the property.
We've had a couple conceptuals. I think whenever we approved Curigen way back in, you were around then, Joe Vaiuza was, they may have included that. And then we've had some conceptual stuff, I remember, for that site, but nothing too serious. And then, so.
Yeah, there was one pad site, I think, approved a couple of years ago off of East Industrial, but they never ended up building it.
Yeah, right. You're right.
So I just wanted to make you all aware of that before you hear it. So you heard it here first, possibly. That's all I have. Unless, Erin, you have anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think I mentioned to Harry, I am, my daughter's getting married in June 3rd, and that Thursday, June 1st, I'm not going to be here.
Oh,
So,
wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to miss a meeting. It's been a while. So I think, what's going on with Fred? Because Fred's our vice, he's our secretary. He would presumably be running the meeting.
Yes. I don't know. I think we had a chance to get anything out to members we had hoped to. Fred is, I believe, in the hospital. If he hasn't had surgery, he may be having surgery very, very soon. I won't go into the details of it, but we'll let you know how you could reach him and, come put something together in terms of a card to send to him too. So we're trying to find out exactly where he is in the process, but it's nothing life-threatening as far as I know. So I just won't go into any further than that, though. It's his private business.
Great.
Well, thank you for letting us know.
Yeah. Thanks, Barry.
I'm sure everyone's thoughts are with him, so we'll let him know that.
Okay. Anyone have anything else? Not then, someone make a motion to adjourn?
I will
So
make a
we'll-
motion to adjourn.
Oh, we'll give it to Sharon. Is there a second?
Chadwick seconds.
Second by Joe Chadwick. Any further discussion? All in favor? Joe Chadwick,
Chadwick is in favor.
Joe Vayuzo,
Are you so in favor?
Massimo,
Massimo's in favor.
Sharon,
Sharon Hutner is in favor.
and Chair is also in favor. So thank you, everyone.
You guys have a great night.
Okay.
You
good
too.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
See you next time.
Right.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.